you look at the instructions, they tell you to do each problem twice. Okay, so we're going to do problem number 1 again. So you probably have some work down here, and then hopefully you have a little bit of space left. Anybody have a little bit of space? Okay, so we have our little box, and we have to figure out what number goes in the little box. And it is the opposite sign of this number right here. So that says -2, so we're going to put a positive 2 in the box. And then how do we figure out what numbers go here? 1, 4, -22, 11, 17. So it's oh, that's terrible. Hold on. Give it a second. There we go. We can see better. So we write down the coefficients. We have to make sure that we have all of the exponents, and then we even have one that doesn't have a variable with it, okay? And I always start by drawing my arrow, because I have found that if I don't draw my arrow, I forget to drop down the first number. But that's just me. Maybe you don't forget that. I'm not sure. Okay, so what do I do first? Okay, so I drop down the 1. I've got 1 times 2 is 2. 4 plus 2 is? Okay. Then 6 times 2 is 12. -22 plus 12. -10 times 2. 11 plus -20. -9 times 2. -18. 17 plus -18. -1. Okay, so since that was an exponent of 4, this one is going to drop by 1, and it's going to be an exponent of 3, and then an exponent of 2, and then an exponent of 1, and then no exponent, and then this is our remainder. So our answer is x to the 3rd plus 6x squared minus 10x minus 9 minus 1 over x minus 2. Does that match the answer from when you did long division? Yes. Whew. I know it is, huh? Now, the extra problems I gave you on that worksheet that was like, there's more. That worksheet, synthetic division, would not have worked for any of those problems because I had you dividing by x squared. So this only works if you have x minus 2 or x plus 7 or x minus 5 or x plus 3 or something like that. It only works with the really simple ones. Okay, so let's skip number 2. I'll let you do number 2 yourselves. Let's look at number 3. So when I put the number in the box, what should I write? Positive 4, okay? And then when I do the numbers outside the box, should I start with 23? No. I should start with 1 because that's the highest exponent. And then -9. And then 23. And then -9. And then -22. So I had to put everything in the correct order. Bring down the 1. So 1 times 4, awkward, 4, whew. All right, okay, cool, we're getting warmed up. -9 plus 4, -5 times 4, 23 plus -20, 3 times 4, -9 plus 12. Oh, no, you're right. I was thinking negative. 3 times 4, -22 plus 12, -10. And then we dropped the exponent by 1, so we started with an x to the 4th, so we got x to the 3rd, x to the 2nd, x to the 1st, no x, and then our remainder. And does that match the answer you got? Yes. Woohoo. Don't admit it if it doesn't, because it should. So just lie and say it did. Okay. All right. What do we have to do special about number 4? Yeah, we have to put some zeros in there. So we're going to put 6 right here. We've got a 1. And then what do we have? I just ran out of lead. Time for a marker. -6, and then what? 0. So that's the fourth exponent, third, 2, 1, and then none. Okay. So we've got 6. Nope. We got 1. Whew. All right. Then what do we do? So 1 times 6 is 0 times 6 is 0. 0. 0 times 6 is 0. 0 times 6 is... Does that match the weirdness that happened when you did long division? Yeah, it went kind of weird, right? So if that was n to the fourth, what is this one? N to the third, and then n to the second, and then n, and then no n, and then remainder. So we have n to the third minus 4 over n minus 6. Okay. So go ahead and work on number 2. So it says use synthetic division to evaluate to do this division problem. So what number goes in the box? 3. And then what goes outside the box? 1. And then, yeah, 0. 0x squared. So then 0, then -10, then -24. So we drop down the 1. All right, then what do I have? 3, those add 2. And then we got 9. -1, subtract 3. This is close. -27. So that gives us x squared plus 3x minus 1 minus 27 over x minus 3. Okay, now the next question says, look at this work and determine if x minus 3 is a factor of x to the third minus 10x minus 24. So we have to think back to when we learned about factors, okay? And we're going to, instead of looking at a polynomial, we're going to think of something that's a little bit easier. So if I wanted you to tell me what the factors of 12 were, what are the factors of 12? 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So when we describe factors of 12, we say that those are numbers that multiply to make 12. Or if we were to say division, those are numbers that divide evenly into 12. So if I do 12 divided by 6, I get 2 exactly. If I do 12 divided by 4, I get 3 exactly. I don't get remainders. 5 is not a factor of 12, because if you do 12 divided by 5, you get a remainder. Okay, so if we look at this one, we took x to the third minus 10x minus 24, and we divided it by x minus 3, and we got a remainder. So, is x minus 3 a factor? No. No, because we got a remainder. So the only time that something is a factor is when the remainder is what number? 0. If you have a remainder of 0, then you can say that thing was a factor. If you do not have a remainder of 0, then that thing was not a factor. Does that make sense? And that's because when we have factors, they divide into the number evenly. That's our definition of a factor. It should divide evenly. Okay, go ahead and work on the second page, and then we're going to do some notes after that on the remainder theorem, so you cannot do the puzzle yet, or the maze. You can't do the maze yet. We're going to finish this page and then take some notes. Okay? All right. That's a strange question, yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to, yes, I will say so in a second. So here's the example problem. Find f of 6 given that f of x equals negative 4x to the third plus 29x squared minus 28x minus 8. No calculator. Find f of 6. Ready, go. Yeah. Plugging in 6. Don't make any mistakes. You're plugging in 6. You're figuring out what the answer is. No mistakes. No calculators. No calculators. Can't make mistakes. Got to plug in 6. Nope, not on this one. Got to be perfect. Sorry. No calculators. No mistakes. Also, no crying. No crying. So what are you guys running into that's making this difficult? Does anyone know what 6 cubed is? It's 216. So what have I done so far? What have I done so far? I did my exponents, right? Because order of operation tells me to do parentheses first, then exponents. So I did my exponents, my 6 cubed. Maybe a little bit, I don't know. Okay. So now we just have to do some like multiplication, right? Okay, I'm gonna let you guys do it. No mistakes. All right, ready, go. No mistakes. They are big numbers. Why do you sound so whiny? No calculators, no mistakes, no crying. No, you can't use your phone. No calculators, no mistakes, no crying. Be brave. Huh? No, you know how to multiply. You know how to multiply. That's true, but we learned how to divide in a new way. I know. Two numbers times 2 numbers. Whoa. Yeah. Don't worry, guys. We're only 4 minutes into this problem. Only 10 more to go. Without a calculator. Yeah, we're just gonna do a problem and do another problem and just keep going forever. Really? No. Yeah. Did anyone get 864 for the first number? Yeah. Woo! Okay. Yeah, negative 864. Don't forget that negative in there. All right.
I already made a mistake.
No mistakes, right? We're doing it perfectly. No mistakes.
I made a mistake. I'm gonna fix it. What's the purpose of this?
You'll see in a second.
We did this in third grade. I think that was I figured it out. We did this. I thought the answer
No mistakes, no crying. Keep going. No, you're not doing the maze. You're finishing this problem. You're finishing this problem. No. No, yeah. Has anyone gotten the answer yet? The answer's 4.
Why you guys gotta spoil it? I got it.
All right. Are you guys ready to see what the purpose was? Woo, okay. Woo.
Oh, do it faster.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Here we go. We're going to do this problem using synthetic division. So, we're going to put 6 in the little box because it said to plug in 6, so we're going to plug in 6. And then we have -4, +29, -28, -8. All right. So I set up the synthetic division problem. -4 times 6, -24. 29 minus 24, 5 times 6. -28 plus 30, 2. 2 times 6, -8 plus 12, 4. And when you plug it in, you get 4. So the answer is 4. So, when you did all the work for nothing. So when you are doing a calculator inactive test, you can do this, or you can do this. It's completely up to you. No. When you're doing calculator inactive. When you're not allowed to use a calculator. So those are your options. Anyone want to guess why this is called the remainder theorem? Because the answer is the remainder. Wow. That was a good question. So listen carefully. What if there's no remainder? Then the answer is 0. Okay, now be careful. So if we put a 6 in here, that means that we took this, and what did we divide it by? Not 6. What did we divide it by?
4.
Think about what we just did, the last assignment we just did. If we put 6 in the box, what did we divide it by? X minus 6 is what we divided it by, right? Because we put a positive 6 in the box. So that means what we just did is we just took this, and we divided it by x minus 6. We got a remainder, so that means this is not a factor of the problem. Okay? If you get a remainder of 0, it means it was a factor of the problem, and it means your number is an x-intercept. It means it's exactly where it crosses the x-axis. Okay? So the remainder theorem just says, if you want to plug a number into a function, and you don't have a calculator, do synthetic division instead. and the remainder is the answer that you get when you evaluate for that number. Yes?
And so we don't change the 6 to a negative 6?
No, because they didn't have it in parentheses. You didn't have to do the opposite sign to bust it out of the parentheses. They gave you something to plug in specifically. They told you exactly what they wanted you to plug in. Okay, we're going to do another example. Are you ready? We can do it however we want. So if we want to do it the long way, we can. We're going to find f of 2 given f of x is 4x squared minus 6x minus 1. Yeah, I mean, you can do it the long way if you want. You weirdos. All right, so what should I do? Yeah, put 2 in the box. And I do... Are you sure?
Yeah.
If we were to race, I'm pretty sure I would beat you.
No, we already finished it.
I know, but only because I'm teaching. But if we were to actually do it, I would have beat you.
Okay, so we're going to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
You shoot on 4
Uh-huh.
plus
Uh-huh.
negative 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 times 2 is 4. Combine that with the negative 1 and you get 3.
Mm-hmm. And the answer is 3.
Wow.
How many more are we doing?
We are doing this because when they write down what I have to teach in Math 3, the remainder theorem is one of the things I have to teach. Yeah, this is required. I'm required to teach this. Yeah, let's be realistic. Could this ever come in handy? Like being able to plug a number in quickly? Yes. Like if you choose to get all the way to calculus, and in calculus, the majority of the final exam is not, you can't use a calculator on the majority of it. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Because they want to make sure you're capable of doing math without a calculator.
You're always going to have a calculator when you're in life. Like that's your phone.
Yeah, but you also need to have a brain if you're going to be a mathematician someday. So we're checking. I know, but you're in honors math 3, which is a prereq for honors or for AP calculus. I'm just saying you're on the trajectory. So I'm getting you all ready in case you want to go that route. All right, go ahead and turn the page. We're gonna look at that. We're gonna look at that maze. You do not get to use a calculator for any of the problems on the maze. Oh my gosh, look at this! I did the first one for you. Yeah, does that problem look familiar? Okay, and then look at that. We just did the second problem. Okay, so let's do the third one. If you don't feel like writing in 6-point font, feel free to do your work on a separate sheet of paper. Blaine, I just beat you. Liar. Okay, Blaine, let's race. You do the long way and I'll do the fast way and we'll see who wins. Whoever wins has to help Calvin clean the toilets today. Oh, that was a negative 3. You're just doing synthetic division and figuring out what the remainder is. That's all you do. Doesn't my yellow marker look cool? Oh, I need to pause that.